What the hell? All right, that was a little awkward. Hi, I'm Ed Cruz. Welcome, episode number 70. And this is called, what is this called? The fear of right and wrong. Okay, fear of right and wrong. Okay, so let me give you two different examples, and this is from my own personal aspect. When I wanted to learn Wing Chun, back in 95, 2000, or 91 or whatever, I don't even remember the date, but let's say 2000, the start point of when I officially became a serious student, there was no fear. There was no fear as far as how I was going to do it, how I was going to get better. Even though the questions, there were no answers to the questions that I had posed at that time, there was absolutely no fear. And a lot of times, the right and wrong, I want you guys to, even at this day and age, while you think you understand every aspect and every lesson that's come forth in life, at that particular example, I can say 100% that I had no fear of making mistakes. And why is that so important is because the rapid growth of of your skill level is dependent on how much can you screw up, basically, is the rapid growth of my skill level. So, for example, in Wing Chun specifically, right? Wing Chun specifically, I wanted to learn the skill, and regardless of how many times I did it wrong, how many times I screwed up, or making the mistakes was not a problem. Looking bad was not a problem. Constantly knowing that I needed both. Maybe I didn't understand that I needed both, but the fear of making that mistake was not there at all. Now, I want to liken that to another thing, like, now, I take multiple languages, and I speak okay in them. But for example, I've taken Japanese for a while, and the difference between my training in Wing Chun, and maybe it's a case of motivation too. I have obviously a greater motivation to learn Wing Chun, and I like studying Japanese, but maybe the motivation isn't at the same level as that with Wing Chun. Well, clearly it isn't. But the difference is when you speak, and especially when you learn a language, you have that fear of making a mistake. Like, you don't want to sound bad, or you don't want to say wrong, or you want to come out a mistake. But lately, over the last couple of months, I'm finally getting over that hurdle as far as speaking and say, oh, was that right or is that wrong? And now I just want to say it, even if it's not wrong, even if it sounds off, even if the word order is off. That fear of sounding off when I speak in Japanese has kind of subsided. It's still there, and I'm still aware of it, but it's not at the same level as it was before, because I realize when you have that fear, you just don't do as much. You don't do what's necessary. If you take both cases of the example I'm giving you, the Wing Chun, screwed up, go back at it again. Screwed up, go back at it again. Made a mistake, go back at it again. Japanese, you make a mistake, feel a little bad, feel a little down, take a little break, right? And yes, I get it. The motivation is different from both, but I just want to say that whatever it is that you're focusing on, to get good is to screw up quite a bit. And right now, it's difficult to see that both screw up and good and bad are both necessary. And then actually the person who you look at is like, wow, that guy is really good and he makes things look so easy. That individual has screwed up more times than you ever will, because that's the level of requirement necessary to improve a skill. But you look at that as far as the right and wrong being actually both necessary to get the skill level to such an utmost, almost unattainable, godlike level. So keep that in mind when you're training. I know it can be difficult, and you're like, frick, I keep making the same mistake. It's okay to make the same mistake. You gotta be able to look back and say, look, the reason I'm at this skill level is because I screwed up more than you ever have screwed up. So you gotta get to that point where you can set aside your ego and then keep constantly practicing from that. All right? So something to think about.